here in the Q parking garage, the most ticketed lot on campus. And as you can see just right here, there's not one, not two, but 3 cars with parking violations. Every spin of the wheel and every stroke of the brush takes precision, something Candace lost during her injury. It represents hundreds of hours of work by thousands of bees just like these. Part of the fun of coming to the market is trying the fresh local produce or getting a beautiful bouquet for a loved one. But with nearly 100 small local businesses, it's guaranteed that there's something for everyone. On average, 1 in 3 college women are impacted by domestic violence. But right here behind me, WSU Police Chief Don Daniels is working to change that statistic. For many WSU students, finding a parking spot feels like a daily battle, and for some, that battle ends with a ticket. For Ella Ferguson, it's happened more than a dozen times.
I would feel really unsafe as a freshman girl having to park all the way down where I could pay by the hour and walk up about 15 minutes to my dorm around close to midnight. So I would find somewhere closer to my dorm to park and get a citation for that.
Since 2021, annual parking violations have increased by nearly 14,000. Although some students view the rise as punitive or profit-driven, transportation services attribute it to an increase in enforcement officers and advancements in parking technology.
With this LPR license plate recognition, they're able to drive the vehicle through. It scans the license plate, lets them know, okay, these license plates are either paid or they're in compliance because they have a permit.
I'm here in the Q parking garage, the most ticketed lot on campus. And as you can see just right here, there's not one, not two, but 3 cars with parking violations. In the 2024 fiscal year, transportation services brought in just under $1 million from parking enforcement. That revenue goes towards staff salaries, parking lot maintenance, and a reserve fund for future projects.
You know, we try not to be excessive. Our goal is to help support student needs. So making sure space is available, that it's reliable, that it's affordable, that stuff is safe, and that it's accessible.
Gabby encourages students to utilize the feedback form on the Transportation Service website. Reporting from Pullman, I'm Addison Wong, Murrow News 8.
I made this dog sculpture and I worked on it for days.
At 8 years old, her first sculpture was nothing more than a hobby, but it would later mean much more. Candace Baltz, a Murrow graduate, spent the early years of her career in the newsroom with a full face of makeup and spiffy dresses. Now she shows up to work in clay-covered jumpsuits and undone hair.
When I went to WSU, I signed up for a pottery class. But like you get so dirty doing pottery, and I was a broadcast student, and so it was real clear real fast I wasn't going to be able to continue in the pottery class and the broadcasting class, so I dropped pottery. And then I was a reporter and I worked in journalism for like 2 decades.
But in 2020, Candace suffered a traumatic brain injury that forced her out of the newsroom. Just a month after her injury, Candace's husband and son put together a pottery studio in their garden shed. She said when she opened the bag of clay for the first time, she was hit with a joyful, peaceful smell.
So to be able to smell that clay after my injury and just be like mentally, spiritually transported back to the pottery studio in like the best time of my life was, that itself I think was deeply healing.
Every spin of the wheel and every stroke of the brush takes precision, something Candace lost during her injury. She found healing through making gnomes, which exceeded her expectations.
And every time we had some profit, we would just reinvest it in more equipment and supplies until finally all of this existed at my house in my basement. So that was, gosh, a couple years after my injury. So at that point, we were ready to open a studio.
What began as her own form of therapy is now something she shares with the communities of Pullman, Moscow, and Colfax. Reporting from Pullman, I'm Addison Wong, Murrow News 8.